Hi. So I'm sorry for not doing an update for so long, but um, I've obviously post surgery now, and I've been staying at my mom's house, and I haven't had much alone time to film a video, and also I haven't really been feeling up to it until now. But um, I'm a little over 3 weeks post-op now, so I have a lot to talk about. I'm probably going to split it up into two videos, just so they're not too long. So I'll just start from like right before surgery. So the night before surgery, there was this big snowstorm that this no one was prepared for, um, and the roads were terrible. It usually takes me 15 minutes to get home from work, and it took me like 2.5 hours to get home. And I was looking forward to like I was getting out of work at 6:30 or 6, and I was looking forward to like going home and resting before surgery. And then that just didn't happen. I didn't get home until like 7. Wait, I'm sorry. I don't remember. I just remember it took me like 2.5 hours. I don't remember exactly what time I left work, but it took me like 2.5 hours to get home. I didn't get home until like almost 8 o'clock, and I was so stressed out. I was so worried that we weren't gonna make it to the hospital, that the roads were still gonna be bad, and the day before I would like was going to book a hotel room so that we could drive into the city before surgery and to stay overnight because I was so worried. And then my mom took me out of it. We ended up making it to the hospital. It was fine, but that was just really stressful. Um, but then, so I made my mom leave really early to come pick me up, and on Friday morning, because my surgery was a Friday, we ended up getting to the hospital like an hour before I had to check in, but it was fine. I was happier about not having to rush, and the roads ended up being fine in the morning. So I always think better safe than sorry. So anyway, um, I got to the hospital. Eventually, I checked in. They brought me in the back. They have you change into a gown and brush your teeth and things like that. Brushing your teeth, they said, helps prevent infection. Um, a nurse came in. Like, if you ever had surgery, you know what it's like. But if you haven't, they like take your vitals. Um, a nurse comes in, asks you what procedure you're having done. Um, they talk to you a little. The anesthesiologist came in, talked to me. Dr. Levine, who is the microsurgeon, came in and talked to me a little bit. He's really nice. I hadn't met him until that morning, but he was really cool. I really like him. I talked to him about so this is my arm now. I'm a little over, like I said, 3 weeks post op. I'm really happy with it, with how it looks right now. I was initially going to do Integra, but Dr. Bluebond talked me out of it. She said that because I have skinny arms, yeah, you can't really tell, but I have thinner arms. So she said that Integra would be more of a pain than a benefit, because then I would have to go back for another surgery like 3 weeks later. So like right about this time, to have the wound vac taken off my arm and the skin graft done. And now, having gone through the split thickness graft, I'm so glad I just got it over with, because that was the worst part of surgery. And like the pain of recovery so far was the split thickness graft, which is on my leg. I'm not going to show it right now because I don't have pants on. I'm on my couch with a blanket over me. Um, and I have photos, so I can put I can put the photos in a video eventually or something like that, of what it looked like earlier on. But right now it just looks like a big piece of healing skin, like a big square of red skin on my leg right now. But anyway, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but I'm glad I didn't do Integra. They took the graft, which is what I talked to Dr. Levine about, from below my wrist bone, which, I'm sorry, the lighting's bad in here. There's this light up here, whatever. Sorry. Um, they took it from below my wrist bone, which I hope will help me regain movement in my wrist, because right now I don't really have much. My hand isn't that swollen, which is cool. It just looks weird right now, but I'm starting physical therapy. I'll talk about that later. I'll get back to what I was talking about. Dr. Levine came in, spoke with him. He was nice. Dr. Bluebond, it was funny because then the nurse was like, "Okay, are you ready to go back to the OR. And I was like, no, I haven't talked to Dr. Bluebond yet. Um, and she was like, oh, okay, I'll go see if she could talk to you. And then she was like right there. So, but I was like, I'm not going into the OR without talking to Dr. Bluebond. I talked to her. Um, we basically reiterated what I talked about with Dr. Levine, about wanting to take it from below here. She marked up my arm. Um, I also got scrotoplasty done because I didn't do urethral lengthening. So usually Dr. Bluebond, with how she stages things, she only does phalloplasty in the first stage, and second stage is scrotoplasty. But because I wasn't doing urethral lengthening, she said it was okay. So Dr. Bluebond left. They walked me into the OR. I laid down. They like strap you in, stuff like that. I have bad veins. My better veins are on my right arm, which they couldn't do because I was having surgery on my arm. So they were trying to get it in this arm. They tried it in the crook of my arm. They tried it in the back of my hand. The bruises are finally fading like twice. They were going to try my ankle. They got it on ultrasound, and this was taking a while. They had to like get it on an ultrasound, which they usually don't have to do. This is all while Dr. Bluebond is like marking up my arm, like shaving my leg for the split thickness graft, and they got an ultrasound. They eventually found a vein right here, but that was interesting. To It took like a while. Not their fault. I just have bad veins. So, I went to sleep, and then I don't remember waking up. Um, I remember being in my room, in the hospital room. The hospital's really nice. They made a new wing that opened this over the summer, and um, it's like you get a private room with like a 70-inch TV screen and a tablet where you can like order your meals and control the TV and watch Netflix. It's really nice. I remember waking up. I remember being in the room, and I took a bunch of photos of myself, and I took a dick pic, and then um, I don't really remember much after that. I remember taking a photo of my mom sleeping on the couch. I wasn't in. I don't remember being in pain when I woke up. I think my hand was uncomfortable. Initially, I had like an ace bandage wrapped around it or something, and then they took that off and they put like just a wrist brace on it that went to like here, and it was a bunch of dressings on it. Like I didn't see my arm for a few days, and then Saturday was the day after surgery. I wasn't allowed to eat or drink anything. I could just like they had this like sponge thing that I could like suck the water from it, and I could have like some ice, but I wasn't allowed to eat or drink anything. Um, I think I just watched a lot of TV, and Dr. Bluebond came in and said everything went good, um, and she said that my scrotum is bifid, which means it's not connected in the middle. There's like two different types of scrotoplasty techniques. There's bifid, which is like it's not it's not connected in the middle. Like it's not one sac. And then the other technique is called a VY hanging scrotum, which is it's connected in the middle and it's moved up a bit. She said that she could revise it. I haven't asked why. I'm assuming there was a reason. Obviously, like I trust what Dr. Bluebond did, so I don't think that I'm not like upset about it now. It's fine. I still like what was done so far. Anyway, so everything was fine. Sunday, I wasn't allowed to eat solids, but I could have like fluids, so I could have like soup. They had ice pops, water, obviously, and drinks. And then from Monday on, I was allowed to like eat regularly. So the food wasn't bad. I'm vegan, so I was worried about the food. Um, they had enough. Like I had a lot of potatoes and rice and vegetables and oatmeal, and pasta, but it was fine. So really, I know a lot of people have a hard time in the hospital. I didn't have, at least the first few days when I was just bedbound, so I was like on my back with the catheter and like not, I wasn't allowed to move. They gave me oxy when I needed it. That was the pain medication I was on. But otherwise, I felt like okay. I didn't. People have back pain. I didn't have back pain. Um, and then the it started getting tough when I had to stand up, which was on Tuesday. They had me stand for the first time, so that was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, like 4 days after surgery. Um, and I stood up. The physical therapist came in. They got me up, and then I passed out after a couple minutes. So that was scary. But they were like, it's normal. Like you're on your back for a few days. Some people have a harder time than other people, so I wasn't that worried. Um, the next day they came back. They took out the catheter. They had me stand up again. I stood up for like a couple minutes, and then I got dizzy again. So I wasn't even able to walk yet. Like I was supposed to be up and walking. I wasn't even able to walk yet. So um, I didn't pass out. I almost did, but I had to lie back down again. And then they had the catheter out, so I had to start peeing on my own, and I couldn't start peeing on my own. My bladder just like wasn't working, which they said is also normal. But it ended up that okay. So sorry, I'm sorry. I don't have good memory yet. Still, I'm still like reeling from anesthesia. Anyway, so it was Wednesday that they took out the catheter. Wednesday night, I still hadn't peed. Hold on. Okay, sorry. My mom called me. I'm back. Wednesday night, I still hadn't peed, and my bladder was full because I was still drinking, and I couldn't pee. They tried to get me to use the bedpan. I couldn't, and obviously I couldn't get up because I would pass out. So they had to come in and do what's called a straight cath, which just basically means they put a catheter in, and then after they empty your bladder, they take it back out. Um, that was really painful already because everything down there, like, I couldn't like, I can't feel anything in my penis yet, but I could feel my scrotum, which was painful because it was all like stitched up. So obviously everything down there is already sensitive, and then they have to put a catheter in your urethra, which does not feel good. So they had to do that. Not fun. Um, but I think that the worst pain worse than putting the catheter in was actually having a full bladder. So it was almost a relief, even though it was painful for a bit. Um, Thursday morning, so I still couldn't pee after that. I drank a regular coffee on Thursday morning, thinking that that might help me pee because I had just been drinking decaf previous to that. Um, and then I drank a regular coffee Thursday morning with my breakfast. The nurse got it for me, thinking that it was going to help me pee because usually when I'm at home, normal times, drinking regular coffee makes me have to pee really bad, and I go immediately, and it didn't work. And Thursday morning on Thanksgiving, they had to do another straight calf while the Thanksgiving Day parade was on my TV, so that was fun. And I think the Thanksgiving parade was like right outside the hospital too. So that wasn't fun, but then that afternoon I was able to, which the bed using a bedpan is disgusting, but I was able to finally, my bladder woke up and started working. So anyway, so another pain that was bad was like the split thickness graft when you first get it. The split thickness graft they take to cover your arm. Once they take the graft from your arm to make your penis, and the split thickness graft was very painful because it's basically like a big open wound, like road rash, like you skinned your knee but humongous on your leg, and the mesh underwear that they put on for when I was gonna walk got stuck, and um, I had to peel it off my leg, and then my leg was oozing, and it hurt for like a good hour or two. So that hurt pretty bad, but otherwise it was fine. The worst pain was definitely full bladder, catheter, and the split thickness graft. But um, Thursday, the physical therapist came back again. I did a little bit better. I still couldn't walk. I kept getting nauseous and lightheaded whenever I would stand up, and hot, like hot and clammy and sweaty. So then Thursday night, one of the residents came back with, and she was gonna help me with my nurse to help me try to walk again because I was initially supposed to go home. We were worried about like the Thanksgiving Day parade because the hospital is in New York City, the parade's in New York City. My mom didn't want to take me home on Thursday because it was Thanksgiving and there was gonna be the parade and there was gonna be a lot of traffic and that just like wouldn't be good for me to be sitting in the car for in traffic, going home from the hospital. So then they wanted me to go home Wednesday night maybe, and I was just obviously not ready because I couldn't pee, I couldn't walk. So they said Friday I could go home. So Thursday night I still hadn't like been able to walk. Um, so they came back and someone had told me to ask for anti-nausea medication, which I did, and they gave me extra fluids through IV that I think Dr. Bluebond had told them to do. And then Thursday night I was able to get up. I was able to walk to the door of my room and back a couple times, and it was fine. And then I was able to get up a little later and actually use the bathroom in my room by myself. Well, with the nurse's help, which um, what I learned is in the hospital very quickly you learn to just deal with it and like not really be modest. Like I lost all sense of modesty with this surgery. I'm sure it'll come back, but like you have a nurse coming in every hour to use what's called a Doppler. It allows them to hear the blood flow in your penis. So like every hour someone's looking at you. You get up. The first time I peed because everything was so swollen, I like got everywhere. The nurses had to help me like wipe up and everything. That happened a few times. So my mom has seen every part of me because my mom's been taking care of me. The first couple weeks I couldn't shower on my own. I couldn't even like pull up my underpants on my own because the split thickness graft, if anything touched it, it would hurt and it would bleed. Um, I'm lucky that my mom is cool with it and hasn't made me feel bad. So that's just something I'm sure my sense of modesty will come back eventually, but right now it's out the window. Um, so I'll go back. Thursday night, I was able to walk, use the bathroom. Friday morning, the physical therapist came back. She helped me. We walked like around the hospital. It's amazing to me how much progress can be made in just like a few hours. I was able to get up on Friday morning, walk around the hospital. She taught me how to get up and downstairs, and then I finally went home. So I would say the overall the hospital stay was fine. Like the hospital is gorgeous, and it's amazing that they have such a nice facility. Um, and most of the nurses were great. There were a few that were. I mean, I never felt like I wasn't getting taken care of. But there was just like some nurses that really made a point to like actually talk to me and made me feel like they really cared about me and like we had good conversation. And it's nice because like the only person that visited me in the hospital is my mom. So it was nice to not feel lonely and like to actually be able to have conversations. Um, I mean, one of the nurses, Dr. Bluebonds works with, he's like the LGBT liaison. He came to visit a couple times. He's great. The social worker came to visit me. They're great. So it was it. Dr. Bluebond's team is great, and like all her plastic surgery residents are great. Dr. Levine came one night and checked on me. He's lovely. So like overall, I had a good experience. I didn't have any major complications. I'll talk about in the next video because I don't want this to be too long. Like what I'm dealing with now that I'm almost 3.5 weeks post-op. Oh, the last thing I can talk about is just seeing my arm for the first time after I think it was on Tuesday. They came and took no, it was Wednesday because it was the same day they took the catheter out. They came and took the wound vac off my arm. So there's a wound vac which just helps with the healing of your arm. They took that off and then just dressed it. So that was the first time I saw my arm. One of the residents came and removed that and dressed it and showed me how I would take care of it for a few weeks while it was still in the brace and covered. And I was sort of excited to see my arm, and I know it's hard for some people, but I feel like I mean, I knew going into it that I was gonna have a scar on my arm. I exposed myself to a lot of photos and seeing other people's arms. So actually seeing it was exciting for me because I was able to see that they did what I had asked for, which was they took the graft from where I wanted it. Um, and I don't have a divot in my arm, so there's no like decline where the scar is. So I think it's gonna heal great. I think it looks great right now. It's healing really well. So that's it. I can of course answer questions. I'm sorry that I'm so rambly. I'm still sort of tired from surgery, but um, otherwise that's the main gist of like what went on during the stay in the hospital. So in the next video I'll talk about like everything after that. So and again, ask questions. I'm happy to answer them.